I'm just so sorry that this studio doesn't accommodate your needs. Yeah. There you go, make him. Now we pumping in the studio. You can't charge your phone or anything. You try to unplug the internet.
Fix it.
Whatever. Hey, welcome to On the Up and Up with Patrick and
Talisha.
And today's topic is all about milestones and devastation. But before we get started, we have shout-outs and reviews.
All right, so my shout-outs go to Bianca, Lynn, Kayla, and Danessa.
And my shout-outs, I got a long list because people really love my Yelp review that I put out on that social media. So I have Creating Forevers, the Relate Foundation, Love Harder Marriage Coaching. Shout out to her. She's always there. Ring Band. Mrs. Mommy Esquire. Audacious 1908. The Marriage Legacy Builders. Awesome Marriage. Bolder Marriage. Money and Matrimony. Forever Marriages. Tandem Marriages. And Trophy Wife 915. And Nita Hassani. Still going, baby. Mike's producer. Black Walt Disney, Delta Put, Created with Love, Christina M. Dotson. Ooh, we're good. And then Chancey EST1. So thank you guys for interacting with our social media. You can hit us up at Patrick and Talisha on Instagram, Patrick and Talisha on Twitter, Patrick and Talisha on our Facebook page. It's just Patrick and Talisha everywhere. Now we have our review. We got a review.
We got a new review. All right, so this review comes from Chance. It is titled, Where's My Pen and Paper? Love listening. No marriage is ever perfect, and I think it's so healthy for everyone to hear tips and things we can be doing in our relationship to make it better. Definitely doing some self-reflection now on ways I can actively work on my marriage. Thanks for spreading positive energy with these topics while also keeping me laughing along the way. Oh, thank you, Chance.
That's a wonderful review. And she followed us. She followed our Instagram page at Patrick and Talisha. So, man, you know what? We're going to do a new thing. We're going to give Chancey Rubin our Listener of the Week.
Listener of the Week.
Shout out to Chancey.
Thank you, Chancey. Get a chance. Get a chance.
So our listeners out there, y'all go out and do what Chancey did. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. We will read that on the show and go interact with our social media page, Instagram at Patrick and Talisha. Email the podcast at Jesus Rowan. Doggone snoring, baby, right in the middle of my promo. Email the podcast at patrickandtalisha.com. You know what? Email us with your question. Any questions, topics y'all want us to cover about marriage, relationships, dating, whatever, man. We out here to give y'all that knowledge. So with that being said, let's get into the show. This is our 10th episode. Like, officially. Unofficially, we've published over 10 episodes, but this is episode 10. Yes, we made it. And the reason that this is significant is because I read the statistic that most podcasts, like the average podcast, does not make it past episode 10. And the reason why, I get it now, because this thing is hard.
It is super hard.
Way
totally
more,
understand.
yeah, way more work than I thought it would be.
Yeah. Like, tremendous commitment. Like, a lot of planning, and then plans get foiled. A very big feat that we took on.
Yeah, I don't think we've had one episode that has gone according to plan.
Right.
They've all just, we write a plan, and then as soon as we come in here and hit record, we just throw all the plans out the window. Where we're like, yeah, that's not working. That doesn't flow. Oh, the audience is going to hate that. Oh, that's not good. Oh, no one cares about that. Oh my goodness, you said something too early. It's man.
Yeah.
So I am understanding. So let's do a quick best and worst about like making a podcast right quick. So let's start with the worst.
The worst. Well, the worst for us, I think, would be not being able to control Rowan's sleep habits. Rowan, we try to get up early to record, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm up too. Now what?" So I think that's my worst.
That I agree. That is my worst. The time that we record this thing, we ain't gonna tell y'all what time we record it, but understand that it is very early, or it's very random, and sometimes Rowan's asleep. Sometimes, no, he's never asleep. Matter of fact, so usually we have him like nursing on Talisha, and or sometimes we wake up, sometimes we don't wake up. So that is by far the worst is the recording time. What else?
Oh, is that your worst?
That's
as well?
my worst too. That's one of my worst.
I don't know. Maybe the other worst would be like in the beginning, but I think it would be more of a growing pain. Like in the beginning, not really like knowing like what to say and kind of be scared to get on the mic. Like you don't want to say anything stupid or something like that. I think that would be my other one.
Yeah, that's hard. That's another hard thing. Worst thing for me is like, oh man, perfection paralysis. What is it? Analysis paralysis. Yeah. So like I said, you don't know what's going to be good, what's going to be bad. So I'm extra like in here, like critical, like, no, that's not going to work. Don't say that. Take it out. That's hard. And yeah, we bicker a lot. Well, it's fun.
Oh yeah. There's definitely some bickering going on. All right. What's your best?
The best thing for me in this podcast is actually getting out of my comfort zone, confronting my fears, confronting my doubt that we can actually like put a podcast out there and people have been helped by it.
I like that one. That's good. My best would be connecting with people that I haven't talked to in a while. I think that the podcast definitely kind of sparked conversation with friends that I haven't talked to in years. So I think that that's my best, the connection.
And another thing that I like is just me and you actually, we like, there is nothing we can't, like people, married couples are supposed to have date night. Well, this podcast, just because of COVID, has been like our date night because we get like a quality hour or two together just to speak to each other. Like we're talking to each other. Now, if it ain't the most perfect date, because we have different philosophies on how to get things done, but like that is just it's basically like we schedule quality time together, and it's helping people just like having this conversation together. So that's another best thing that I like about it.
And I see, I was gonna say that. I was gonna say, of course, spending time with my husband. I thought that was a given, but it's not. You got to say it. You got to actually put it out there. So yeah, definitely being able to have this. I would say uninterrupted, but this time, because it's not always uninterrupted, but this time with you and just being able to talk to you and just have a banter back and forth and playing off of each other's ideas. I like that.
Yeah. So what surprised me was the amount of work that you have to put into creating a podcast. Like it's not just, record it and that's a wrap. No, you have to write the show notes. You have to come up with the topics. You got to make sure that you have enough topics to talk about. Like the people who do this thing daily, all credit to them. But a lot of people have teams once they get going.
Yeah.
So just figuring this stuff out. Yeah. But the amount of hours, it doesn't stop once you stop record. Like then you got to put everything together, and then you have to use the rest of the week like marketing your podcast to make sure people freaking listen. Because I promise I won't be doing this thing if we ain't have any listeners. But that's a part. That's a part of the podcast. You keep building. Like I think we picked a good subject like marriage to actually talk about that. It actually like helps people, and it comes from our unique perspective. I mean, we aren't the number one experts on marriage, but I think like, especially when we had the vulnerability entanglement episode, that really helped a lot of people. Just like, oh, I'm not alone. That's what I love about podcasts. They show people that, hey, other people deal with difficult issues in their marriage too. So you are not alone.
Yeah, I like that part too. And I think that going back to like the amount of work that you have to put in, oh my goodness. Like before we even decided to do a podcast, we had, multiple like brainstorming, planning sessions and coming up with all these ideas and topics. And I mean, it just flowed and the list went on and on and on and on. And then whenever you get here, it's like, oh, well, in my head, that was going to be this. And then in your head is something else. Or in my head, what I had initially thought way back when, I was like, oh, well, nobody really cares about that now.
Yeah.
So I think that part of the length as well is hard. And being able to like really tap into your creativity.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you have to conjure that up. Like it's not always just naturally coming like all these fresh ideas and graphics and stuff like that. So I think that's another thing.
Yeah. So yeah, but we made it to episode 10. So that was a huge milestone for us because, like I said, the average podcast does not hit 10 episodes because one rule about podcasts, like you have to be consistent. Consistency is mandatory if you want to build any type of momentum or build any type of audience, and marketing and promotion. Like you have to be out there putting it out there constantly. And all episodes aren't like, oh, that didn't have as many downloads as the other thing. So you can't get obsessed with the downloads. You just have to keep on putting quality out there because we never know. Like you could be listening, and we don't know if you're listening in the office or in the car or in the walking. We don't know if you're listening to it with your significant other, your husband or wife or something like that. It's just interesting to actually see that. And then we've kind of evolved. Like we got an email box. We're working on the website. We're working on like free like tools and resources to give out to our audience. Like we're slowly evolving, and I'm just excited to see what we have in the future.
And I think that is good because we do have these ideas and these goals already. So actually manifesting those goals is really good positive reinforcement for us to keep going. Yeah. So we have to keep like pushing ourselves and actually like say that stuff out loud and don't have like small ideas, have big ideas, have big dreams. You have if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. That's in your office. Like you have to really live that because if your dreams don't scare you, guess what? You are not pushing yourself far enough. So I think that the ideas that we do have for going forward with the future of On the Up and Up are going to continue to scare us because they are big. We have big ideas, and I know that God will let it come to fruition.
Oh, absolutely. And speaking of like topics, like we would love to hear what you guys think about what topics you want us to cover and offer our perspective and sort of our expertise on something like in a relationship or anything really. We are 2 certified life coaches. We just specialize in marriage because we believe that that's a critical thing. But yeah, we are definitely certified life coaches and can help you get through difficult situations in your life. So we would love to hear from you. Like what subjects do you want us to talk about, and we will go over it. Like we will get into it and see like, hey, from our perspective of what we've gone through and or what we've experienced in that situation. So you can email us at podcast@patrickandtalisha.com. Like I said, we got an official email.
Amen.
And speaking of milestones, we recently celebrated our 8th anniversary.
Yes. 8th anniversary, our 8-year anniversary. So we told y'all last week that we were going to be celebrating our anniversary, but oh my goodness, I did not know that we were going to be celebrating our anniversary. Like I literally thought that we would maybe have something good to eat, but I didn't even tell Patrick that I really wanted something good to eat. And so I have to tell y'all, Patrick outdid himself last week.
Oh, thank you, baby.
Like, you went above and beyond. And because we told people last week, I think, or week before, like, can you brag on your spouse? Oh, I'm about to brag on my spouse. So, whenever I got home from work, so before I even got home from work, I saw on Facebook a Yelp review from my sweet husband. And I thought it was cool because we had challenged you all to do a Yelp review. And I did one for him, but I was going to save it until I got home. And I never posted mine on Facebook. But I was going to save it. I was like, oh, he's going to be so surprised because I did a Yelp review. Well, I get home with kids and the house is spotless. That was the first thing. Yeah. Yes, the house was spotless. And then I see the projector out and I was like, what is this? And Patrick had recorded a sweet, sweet, sweet message to me in regards to our 8th anniversary. And then he had taken the time to compile a whole collage and video of pictures from throughout our relationship with the music. It was freaking huge because there was a projector. So it was like projected onto our wall in our living room. And I literally just stood there and just cried for, how long was the video? Like 15 minutes?
It was a 15-minute video and you cried.
I cried. Oh, it was I was so happy and just so overwhelmed because the fact that he had taken the time to do such a thoughtful thing for me. I just thought that it was really sweet, and I thought that he used his creativity. Like, you freaking blew it out the park, like out the water, whatever the saying is. Like, you nailed it. I loved it.
Oh, thank you, baby. That's what happens when you have no money. You have to get very, very creative, or you don't have any spots to go to. Like, we couldn't go out to dinner. We weren't going to go to a hotel in the city. So, yeah, I sat there. I recorded a video and just told you how much you meant to me. And I did it. I put it in iMovie, and I put a bunch of basically our life together in a box.
Yeah.
And made a fetchy little slideshow. It was
with music and transitions and he also got me my favorite food, miyabi. So yeah, you seriously, and we always have an unwritten competition as far as the card goes. Who has the best card this year? I was like, oh, mine is gonna win. Yeah, I lost the card.
Now, your card was good.
No, it was good, but yours was better. Yours was cuter.
Well, we can let the audience decide who had the best card. Like, you read the card that you sent me, and I'll read the card that I sent you. And we'll just let them decide, oh, I like that one. I like that card from Pat. Or I like the one Talisha read. So Talisha is going to read. Well, I'll go first. So
okay. I'll
read the card that I gave Talisha. And I always like to go in the comedy section for like the anniversaries and the everything, because I love the comedic ones. They're funny.
They are funny, and I usually go with the more gushy ones.
Sometimes I hit you with the gushy ones too. I mean, but I recently, I've been on the comedy kick,
right?
But sometimes, shoot, man, I gotta find something special on these cards. These $5, $6 cards ain't hitting it, boy.
But then after our anniversary, Publix decided to do their sale, and so they have their buy one get one free cards. I was like, seriously?
Sometimes them cards be trash though. They make the good.
No, it's all the cards.
All the cards.
All the cards. So right now, all the cards you have until Tuesday. Tuesday is the last day of the sale. All the cards are buy one get one free. All the freaking Hallmark stuff, everything.
All right, so you got till tomorrow to go get them.
Yep, until tomorrow.
All right, so here's my card. It's a comedy card. It's got a lot of cartoons on it. So, for my wife, if I were a knight in armor so grand, and you were the fairest maid in the land, and a dragon appeared shooting flames from his snout, I'd send that beast packing and then ask you out. If I were a cowboy who rode through the West, and you were a gal in a red gingham dress, I'd take off my hat from my horse I'd depart, and quicker than lightning I'd lasso your heart. If we both be hippies, a chick and a dude, we met at a concert and true love ensued. Our lives would be mellow, we'd groove side by side, with a love that would last till the day we tie-dyed. Get it? Tie-dyed with the hippies. But none of those stories of romance compare to the way that we feel and the love that we share. There's no greater love in history's pages than you and me, babe, and a love for ages.
See, it's so cute. Okay. All right, so mine is a really pretty card. It's green and white and gold. All right, so it says our anniversary. Today is special because it celebrates us, our love, our life, and everything we've built together. We've been there for each other in so many ways, supporting, encouraging, making each other better. You are my best friend, and being your life partner is the best thing that ever happened to me. I love our family. I love us. But most of all, I love you. Happy anniversary.
Oh, see, that made me feel great.
Yeah,
Again, hearing that one good.
Glad.
So let the audience decide. Email us at podcast@patrickandtalisha.com to say, I like Patrick's card that he gave Talisha, or I like Talisha's card that she gave Patrick. Or hit us up on our Twitter at Patrick and Talisha and let us know. We'll actually make Twitter cards. We'll post it on Twitter.
Oh, yeah. So you can see the visual.
Well, so you can actually see the actual card that we gave each other. Darn, that's a good idea.
That's a good
idea. All right, so what else happened this week? Oh, yeah, and go check. I posted the Yelp review on Instagram as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, go check that out.
I didn't post mine.
Yeah, and I got something for y'all later down the road as far as like making your own Yelp reviews for your significant other, and it's gonna sweep them off them feet.
And nobody did the contest.
No one did the contest. I guess y'all don't like y'all's husband or wife because y'all ain't writing no review for no husband or wife. That's all right.
Not a one.
You can wait for the anniversary, or you can do it now. But like I said, we got something for you.
Yeah.
So you can actually do it, so you don't actually have to put in the work. We do the work for you. But that's later down the road. That's a project that I'm working on. Hopefully we'll have that bad boy out by next week for you. So another thing that happened this week that I myself have never been aware of was, I was searching through my social media news feed, and I saw a lot of our friends posting pictures of them breastfeeding. And so then you put up a post talking about your journey with like breastfeeding and nursing, and it was specifically Black Breastfeeding Week. And I did not know that was an event that we celebrated or was aware of. But apparently breastfeeding is a huge like thing.
Oh, yeah. So it's actually like Breastfeeding Month. But within Breastfeeding Month, there's Black Breastfeeding Week. So it is huge. So the reason why we need a Black Breastfeeding Week is because there is not enough representation out there for Black mothers to see people who look like them breastfeeding. I made a post about the historical aspects of breastfeeding. All right, so my friend, Savannah, she is the Milky Mom, and she posted this, and I thank her because she is always an advocate for nursing and for breastfeeding, and like she rocks. So whenever enslaved mothers had a child, they were quickly assigned to a white slave owner, mistress, and she would basically the white mothers would actually synchronize their pregnancies. Like when they saw that their slave was pregnant, they would try to get pregnant then too, because they didn't want to nurse their children. They used the slaves to be a wet nurse for those babies. And meanwhile, the slave's baby was ripped away from her and left to starve. So you see, as a mother, I can't even imagine seeing my baby, knowing what the amount of milk that I can produce, and seeing my baby go without so that I can feed someone else's baby, someone who doesn't like me, someone who doesn't treat me right. And I mean, literally, these poor babies, some of them just didn't survive because they had to try to make these different concoctions to try to make something that they thought would be nutritious to the child and try to sustain their life, while the slave owners' children are getting the liquid gold. So milk, mommy milk, is liquid gold. It just provides so many nutrients for the children. So I think that because that was, I mean, shoot, that was only a couple of 100 years ago, maybe not even a couple of 100 years ago. Like that part has something to do with like why, and then it goes into like, okay, well, whenever formula was made, only the wealthy could afford formula. So poor people breastfeed. And so I think that all of that just that compounds, and that's why like you don't see as many. I think that is great because 8 years ago they decided to do this Black Breastfeeding Week, and I think that just seeing people doing it just changes your perspective. So like for me, whenever I had Weston, like I had friends who breastfed. So like Samantha breastfed, Shauna breastfed. Like I had an example. I had somebody who was in close proximity with me who I could see like, okay, yeah, it does look hard. And oh my gosh, that looks like a lot to take on, but it's worth it. And then the bond that you have with your child is like no other. I mean, shoot, that's why we can't get rid of Rowan to come record, because he's like, wait a minute, mommy, I need the milk. I need to have it on tap. So yeah. So Black Breastfeeding Week. If you go check out the website, Black Breastfeeding Week, like you can see like the top 5 reasons of why we need a Black Breastfeeding Week.
Oh, that's interesting. Like, and I wasn't, from a husband's point of view, when we first had our kid, you were very adamant about like that you were going to breastfeed because you're a pharmacist, you're in the medical field, you really understood like the health benefits of breastfeeding versus formula or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
I don't know. Look here, buddy. I didn't know the significance of it. I was like, milk is milk, and in my family personally, like I didn't know what my situation was. I think I was formula because I remember my dad saying my mom was trying hard with me. It just didn't ever take. So, but when I saw my cousins like growing up, it was all formula. I didn't see any breastfeeding growing up because, like you said, going back historical context was like, all right, well, you're sort of a little below status if you were breastfeeding. Oh, buying formula is a form of status, right? So you remember when my grandmother said, I do formula.
She said, I did. She said, oh, breastfeeding. I did formula. And it was so funny because I was like, well, I'm breastfeeding my kid. Yeah.
Yeah, my grandma's old school. She had like 7, 8 kids or whatever. So I guess they weren't going to be tugging on her tatas. I'll never refer to my grandmother's tatas ever again.
Right?
Oh my gosh. Wow.
But I think that you're onto something because my mom didn't breastfeed me either. So, I mean, like whenever I could try to go to her to ask her questions about it, like she was like, I don't have any questions. My sister. Oh my gosh. How did I forget about Ariel? Ariel was the freaking breastfeeding freaking drill sergeant. She was making me pump like every 2 hours. She'd be like, have you pump, because whenever she was breastfeeding her children, she didn't really, she did for like a month or 2 months or something like that, and she said, if I would have started it out right and pumping, then I would have had a better milk supply. So I'm trying to tell you how to do it, like learn from my mistakes. And of course, you don't want to listen to your freaking little sister.
She come in and squeeze your tatas her dang self. It's very weird, like how close you guys are. She come in here like you just had the baby. She come in here start. You got a lump. Squeeze it out. Like what is y'all doing? It's
literally like my drill sergeant. I owe my breastfeeding success to Ariel. Like dead serious. What else?
Well, just from like I said, from like husband's view, like I said, I did not understand it. And our first kid, I didn't see how hard it was and like the stress it actually like puts on moms to try to get that child fed. Because one thing, like all moms are always concerned about is their child being fed. Like it's like y'all will move mountains to make sure that your child is actually fed. And just when we were in the hospital, like that first child, like we had the nurses to come help, and like our son, like you don't know what kind of child you're going to get. Like our first child did not latch on. It was super hard. Like, oh, you got to try to hold him like a football. Oh, you got to try to like all these different holding techniques. And like what I found, and then we found these angels, and they're called lactation consultants. Oh my gosh, they're angels from above.
Yeah.
Because as we were going in there, they were always helping us. And oh my gosh, there was a male lactation consultant touching all on my wife's boobs. I'm like, hold up, player, right in front of me. Yeah. Like, I was like, you ain't touching that.
Yeah,
what you doing, buddy?
You did not say that.
I was like, get on out here. I want a woman. We was about to throw hay. We was about to be like Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr. We was about to go have a duel. I challenge you to a duel. Man, doctor touching my wife's tatas. You kidding me?
But you gotta remember, it's not like regular tatas.
You copping a field.
It's like milk engorged tatas. It ain't starting to feel like rocks.
And from a husband's perspective, I don't understand like what it feels to have my breast filled with milk. So apparently it's very painful.
Oh yes. If you don't release the milk, yeah, it's painful. You can get mastitis, which is an infection if the milk doesn't get released out of the breast. So yeah, it hurts. It hurts sometimes.
And I just remember when our first kid, and so he didn't latch on to the breast, so you always had to pump the milk. And I just remember every time I gotta go pump. I got the kid. I would have the kid, or I'd be doing something. It's like, all right, get the kid. I gotta go pump. And I just remember you pumping and pumping and pumping and pumping and pumping. Like, we gotta stop what I'm doing. Whatever we're doing, stop. Gotta go pump. Yeah. Stop. Gotta go pump. Stop. Gonna go pump. And it's just like a young unknowing father. It was like, oh my gosh, you gotta go pump again. But then I'd be like, there's 10 million bags in the freezer. Can he not get one? No, you're just like, no, I gotta pump. And our child had he had to get his tonsils taken out. He couldn't swallow, literally could not swallow milk. Or whenever he swallowed the milk, it would not go down the right tubes because he had, what's that?
So he had what?
Cystic fibrosis.
No, sir. So Weston had laryngomalacia, and he did have very large tonsils as well, and very large adenoids. So because of that, his whenever he would try to nurse, he was aspirating the milk into his lungs, into his nose, and so we did a swallow study because I just kept, and even though I was a first time mom, I just kept saying something's not right, something is not right, and everybody would keep telling me it's fine, you're fine. No, I was like, something is not right, and so I kept pushing it, and they did a swallow study, and that's how we found that out. And so from then on, if I wanted, and I really have to say, okay, so one of the statistics is Black mothers are offered formula 9 times more likely than a white mother. And I have to say, I totally can understand that statistic being 100% true, because it was oh, well, he can't latch on, he can't nurse, so what formula you want to choose? Well, do I not have the other option of pumping? Oh, well, yeah, you could do that too. Okay, well, that's what I'm going to do. I want to continue breastfeeding. Yeah, I don't have to be nursing him to still give him breast milk. So, and whenever you go into the doctor's office, what type of formula is he on? He's not on formula. He's breastfed. Mm-hmm. So I think that the expectation of, oh, well, that mom's probably not breastfeeding.
Unconscious bias.
Yeah, it really is. It's frustrating whenever you really think about it. But yeah, so laryngomalacia, it caused him to have to get oatmeal added to all of his milk bottles.
And that's why he's such a fat baby. That's why he was such a fat baby.
Oh my goodness, he was so fat. But he was getting liquid gold with oatmeal. So what do you expect?
Oh, and oh my gosh, I had to learn how to pour the milk from the bag into the bottle, and Talisha, she was a freaking drill sergeant. Don't you spill that liquid gold. I was scared for my life to pour that milk into the bottle. It's use the funnel so you don't spill a drop. She really thought that thing was more precious than gold.
Because it was.
And it's don't waste the pump, don't waste no milk. And it's just but you did. You was celebrated. You gave me a pat on the back or an attaboy for oh, thank you for being so patient with me and sticking with me. He's other husbands, due to the lack of sleep, and it does create a whole bunch of lack of sleep. And some husbands are nah, I'm not going to lose my sleep. I'm going to switch to the formula.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So I was oh, okay, that's a thing. But I was just so proud of your dedication to like always keep pumping. It's like even at work, you got to keep pumping. Even like when we traveling on airplanes and stuff, you got to bring that pump along. Like you, as a man, you get a new respect for like the women out there, because you know darn well, guys, we ain't doing that. We are not, we don't have that in us. It's not in our masculine energy to actually do that. So like I said, but God made us specifically for like, designed us specifically to like do these roles that we got to do. And like I said, I'm not cut like that, not for a whole year. And I think I've heard stories of like moms being depressed, and that's in addition to like the postpartum depression and everything that happens along with going with a child. Like women, you go through a lot.
We do. So, ooh, you go, girl. Whoever's out there listening, if you have been pumping for 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, you go, girl. And it doesn't matter how long you pump. Like, don't feel like you're less than or anything like that if you don't hit a goal that you might have like set out to do as far as breastfeeding goes. Like, I had a goal, I wanted to do it for a year with Weston. I got in a car accident and my milk supply dried up, so I didn't get to do the full year. And so I had to like just be like, okay, well, you did what you could do, and you kept going and you held on to that commitment. So same goal for Rowan, do it for a year. Shoot, what trajectory he's on. He's
gonna be on that thing for about 5 years. That boy loves the tatas.
Yeah. So, but it's something that you can do for your child. But at the end of the day, and I've said this on another podcast, breastfed does not mean that someone is better than someone else. Fed is best. I know for people like me in the beginning, Weston had lost a lot of weight because he wasn't getting the milk.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't getting the milk. And so I was like, well, I don't want to give him formula. And it's like, but he did this one cry one time. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm being a horrible mom.
Because you don't think you're feeding
Because I don't think he's getting enough milk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Even though I was producing enough milk, like he just wasn't getting it. So just always lean to the side of whatever is going to make the baby get the nutrients is best. Like, don't put so much pressure on yourself, because when you put that much pressure on yourself, it also causes a dip in your supply, because stress is not good for breastfeeding mothers. So a new mom, you have all that stuff. Like Patrick said, you might have postpartum depression. Like, it's just so many different things. So just don't be so hard on yourself.
Straight with COVID now, like, can't you go to the hospital? You got exactly. What is it? Doctor appointments by Zoom. What are they called? Virtual appointments.
Yeah, like so telemedicine.
Yeah, telemedicine.
Mm-hmm.
You got stuff like that. Like you have your restricted access to certain things that you wouldn't have access to now. And they got mommy groups out there, so that like a community is everything, especially if you're new, because you have not seen this before.
Whew. And it is a learning curve. Like, you might think, I used to give my sister all kinds of advice. You might think that you know, but when you bring that little baby home, it is a different story. You need that support. So if anybody's out there and you're breastfeeding or you're pregnant and you're thinking about breastfeeding, you have any questions, I will answer them to the best of my ability. And if I can't answer them, then I will send you to someone who can, because you need that support and you need that representation. Black moms breastfeed too.
All right, hit us up on Instagram at Patrick and Talisha, or hit us at the email at podcast@patrickandtalisha.com. So another thing, speaking of like our first son, Weston, he has been 3 years old for 14 days now. So we have subscribed to the 14-day trial of having a 3-year-old. And after 14 days, I don't want the 3-year-old. I don't want the trial. I don't want to subscribe for the rest of the year. So I tried out the 3-year-old for 14 days, and now they be like, all right, how did you like it? Would you like to subscribe? I'm like, no, I don't want to subscribe. Like, what's the other alternative? Can we like skip 3 and go straight to 4? Because I'm experiencing a lot of growing pains at this 3-year-old stage, and it's just been 14 days, and in these 14 days, like, his cry has changed. He has shifted to like this new mopey cry, like, like, where did that come from? I promise, like, the day he turned 3, that little whiny cry just started coming out, and he's more attached to me than ever before.
I want my
Like
daddy.
he like at the beginning, like he didn't want anything to do with me. It was mommy, 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 mommy. Now he is daddy, 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 like all up in my face. Like he is my little guy at the hip. And man, I was driving him to daycare earlier last week, and like he like screams for the Excavator song. Like he's a radio like snob in the back seat, and if you don't play his song, he's upset. So I was driving him to daycare, and I'm like fumbling with the phone, or the Bluetooth from my phone is not connecting to the Bluetooth in the car. And so I'm just sitting here frustrated, and I say, oh crap. And then Weston's like, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. And I'm like, no, don't say oh crap. Please don't say oh crap. Please say like, oh my goodness, or oh my gosh. Don't say oh crap. Don't say that. He kept saying, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. I was like, oh my goodness. I planted another seed in his head. So we keep driving down. So I get the song to finally play, and we keep driving down the road. And then the song cuts out again. Like the Bluetooth will just disconnect randomly. And I didn't say anything. I just started reconnecting. And he said, oh crap. So like in that little like 5-minute exchange, the boy had already understood the context of when daddy says, oh crap. So when the radio goes out or the song stops playing, he says, oh crap. I'm just he literally listens to everything that he says, and he's paying attention to the concept or the context in which you use it. So, oh man, and then potty training. I'm so over potty training. Oh my god, I am done. Throw potty training out the window, because you keep practicing. But one of my friends, who I call the guru, his name's Reed. He had two twins. He had twins, and he had another child. So he had 3 kids, all within like 2 years apart. So I listened to him for my fatherly advice, and he was just like, hey, look, they're going to try to potty train him before like 3. Ain't nothing going to stick. You're going to have poop everywhere. It's going to poop everywhere. It's going to be peeing everywhere. But one day, after 3, it's going to click. So I'm just waiting for that day. We're at 3 now. So I'm waiting for that thing to click. And he is getting better. Yeah. We are making progress. The daycare is helping out a lot. It's just he has stopped pooping in the tub a little bit. So we that's the worst. I've been cleaning up poop out the tub. Like I felt like, imagine like the SeaWorld, like people who gotta pick up the poop out the tub from Shamu or something. Like that's what I feel like cleaning out the aquarium cage or something after he poops in the freaking tub.
And then he poops, and then he'll say, I pooped. I pooped. Yeah. So people told us though, Patrick, they told us that 3 was worse than 2, because we used to say, oh my goodness, terrible 2s.
Terrible 2s.
And they were like, 3's worse. And we were like, what? 3's worse. Yeah.
My 14-day trial is like, nah, I am not resubscribing. Cancel this subscription and let's go to another service. I need 4.
Yeah, y'all pray for us, because 3 is hard.
3 is tough, man. So speaking about praying for people, I've recently joined this Facebook group. It showed up. It's a group called Young and Married, and what this group does is, or these coaches do, or whatever, they have this group called Pray for Your Spouse Challenge, and this group has over 260,000 people in it. And I was just like, pray for your spouse, like what? Why? Well, I know you should do it. You should pray for everything that you want. But I was like I said, I met Talisha at such a young age. Like I never had to do anything like that. But understanding what we know about marriage now, like your marriage is the most important relationship that you're going to have on this earth. And so I've been in this group for a while, and like I'm not participating in it, but I thought I could get some insight on like what people are looking for in their marriage and whatnot. And my recent like newfound like Christianity and my studying of the Bible and my newfound spirituality, like I'm trying to consume all things God and marriage. And like this challenge is like, hey, welcome to a free 5-day pray for your spouse challenge. And I kept just seeing people just post like, hey, I'm ready to do this challenge. I can't wait. I've been doing it for 3 years and it hasn't worked, but this is my year. And I was like, all right, cool. That's great. But then I just saw one particular story that just really touched my heart from the group. And it's just one heck of a testimony. I just wanted to read it to the audience. It really caught my eye. And it reads like, this is my first year since I've been in this group that I am not actively participating in this challenge. The reason is a blessing. I met my husband through an online prayer group that was organized by a group of people from an online conference organized by these same leaders. Anthony and I went on to learn about ourselves and God through TOU, which is the One University. We are now married and expecting our first child together. He proposed to me at the TOU Live, and it was more than I can handle. Prior to dating my husband, I was in a dark place. I was newly divorced and broken. I lived a life of perversion, homosexuality, stripping, promiscuity, you name it, I've probably done it. My husband loves me beyond my past. God knew who I needed even when I didn't. God loves me enough to grace me beyond my past and sent me a man who is after his heart. And she goes on to say, it's like, if God can change me and send me a loving spouse, he can do it for anyone. I always considered myself the worst case scenario. If anyone deserved to be damned, it was me. Our God is rich in mercy and grace. He loves you and he sees you for who you are in his eyes. You are worthy of love. Even if you are a hot mess right now, he loves you right where you are. There is nothing in this world you can't bounce back from. And I am covering this group in prayer. So it's a really supporting group with testimonies and people I've seen things like, I'm 40. I've never been in a relationship, but I am praying. And this is my third year in the group. But some things in life have changed and I believe it's going to work. And there's just all kinds of positive testimonies. And it's just quick, it's a 5-day challenge to speak it into life and have God bring it to you. These are some crazy scenarios. I don't know if I would have been able to date someone with a past like that. But when you accept Christ and you're filled with that Holy Spirit, all that people's past doesn't matter to you, and you have to genuinely be like that, so that you can have that. You could be missing out on someone great who has received Christ and they've changed no matter what kind of life that they had, and you could miss out on that because of your judgment. But that's what the great thing about Christ Jesus, he doesn't judge. And that's the kind of love that you have to have in your marriage, because your spouse is going to mess up. Their spouse is going to make you mad, and that forgiveness. That's why he says, love your wife like Christ loved the church. And you have to understand that it's so powerful. And and when you're in a community of other believers and other prayer warriors, you can surround yourself and you don't get defeated so easily because the bond is stronger. So if you're single and you want to be married, I highly suggest that you go to that group. It's called Pray for Your Spouse Challenge. It's free. I mean, we're giving them free promotion, but I truly believe in that. And when you put prayer in your marriage and put God first in your marriage, you can overcome, because marriage is really about overcoming a lot of things.
It is. And I think that is really good, because if you already start that relationship before the relationship is even established, it's grounded in prayer, then how easy will it be for whenever that relationship is there to continue to pray for your spouse and pray with your spouse?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think it's great to start it off that way.
Yes, that was a really cool group, and I'm glad that I'm in it, because I love seeing people find love.
So speaking of prayer, this past week was really difficult. We found out last Monday that we lost a fellow Gamecock, Sharice Eatman. She was a member of the Iota Chi chapter of Delta Sigma Theta. Sharice was a very, very sweet, intelligent young lady. We had a biology class together at USC, and every time I would see her, whether it was in class or it was just on campus, she always greeted you with this radiant smile. Sharice was just really a stand-up individual. So I can't imagine, what you all are feeling out there. I know that Sharice and I, we didn't really have a whole lot of interactions outside of, going to different gatherings and things like that. But it touched my heart, and it broke my heart to see such a radiant life end so quickly. So, Iota Chi, we are praying for y'all. Sharice's family, we are praying for y'all. Our hearts just go out to you.
Yes. In South Carolina, we experienced another loss this week with the passing of our Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman. of colon cancer. 43 years old, man. This one really shocked me because I didn't see this one coming. We didn't know he was sick.
Yeah.
We didn't even see it. So
I mean, both of them, like Sharice wasn't
yeah,
sick either.
that was
like,
brain aneurysm.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So two like deaths that came out of nowhere.
Right. So life is really precious, and like Chadwick Boseman being from South Carolina, I didn't know that. I didn't know he was from South Carolina. Like he's like literally like grew up 30 minutes down the street from like where we live, like in the city of Anderson, South Carolina, which is 30 minutes from Greenville where we live. And until I heard him going on other like podcasts and interviews like to promote his movies and stuff, I didn't know who this dude was. He didn't come on the scene for me until he appeared in James Brown. That was mine that really captured my attention of like what he was actually doing. And he just told his story and like, he went to T.L. Hanna High School. He went to Howard University, and he was just really like has been these past few years has been just the symbol for like blackness. Like he like played James Brown. He played Thurgood Marshall. He played Black Panther, and Black Panther was one of the hugest box office hits in Marvel Comics, like any type of movie. And so like in Hollywood, like it's really hard to get, like we have the few. So you have your Denzels, your Morgan Freemans, your Samuel Jacksons, and the actors who like everyone knows who are like really mainstream. And then like Chadwick bust on the scene with like this Marvel movie that took the internationally. Like sometimes like you've seen like the leak of the emails from Sony Studios saying, well, black movies don't do good. And like Denzel was like, I beg to differ, but maybe they're like scared to like put black people on the map in America, but internationally they do just as well. Cause internationally they love black people internationally outside of America. So there's all these like stereotypes and like these politics in Hollywood trying to like get a black superstar because there's not going to be a lot. It's like, hey, we're only going to let a few people in the gate. But Chadwick, being from South Carolina, he broke through it.
Yeah. He was a little boy growing up in Anderson, South Carolina. Like Patrick said, that's right down the street from us. 864. Like he represented so well. Chadwick Boseman, he was so like, in all the interviews, every time I saw him interview, I was like, oh, he's such a nice person. Like, he's just such a cool person. Like, he would be your friend, for sure. I think that this loss was really big because, you know, Chadwick Boseman, by playing Black Panther, he showed little black boys that there are black superheroes, too.
Superheroes, representation absolutely matters. Because I know growing up, like, it wasn't many black superheroes. Like my superheroes came from wrestling. Like I was like, oh, The Rock, oh, Farouk, Ron Simmons, like those wrestlers like that. Like it wasn't. Those were my superheroes. Because I couldn't look at the Justice League and see any black people except when they made a green Black Lantern. But that was it. Like I said, they only letting a few through the gate. And actually, Chadwick busting on the scene with Jackie Robinson, 42. Because he played all our black heroes like Thurgood Marshall, James Brown. Not a nice person outside. Had a bit of some problems and some issues, but beyond the fact, he's a legend. And he'll go down in history. And then like Jackie Robinson, like the GOAT who broke the color barrier. Like he played Jackie Robinson, y'all. Like and that's how you. And if you want to get cast hyped, he's like, oh, I guess I'll be the typecast for all the great black historical figures and not the thugs and the gangsters and the drug dealers and the uneducated or the slaves. So he typecast in that. So he hit the jackpot when it came to getting typecast in Hollywood. It was like, oh, we need to play a well-known legendary black historical figure. So he got to do that. He got that role. And it doesn't, like, he's 43 years old. He does not look like he was 43 years old. Like, I didn't know he was even, like, it's not old, but I didn't know he was, like, that old.
Right. Yeah, no, he did not look 43. So, like Patrick said, he didn't take those stereotypical roles. And a post that I had seen, it said, you know, Chad embodied the true essence of who we are as black people. We are lawyers breaking barriers. Thurgood Marshall. We are talented athletes. 42 in the Express. We're singers and songwriters. Get on up. Last but certainly not least, we are superheroes. Black Panther.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so on Sunday, our governor announced to the state that we will be flying our flags half mast. And some people didn't like that, but who gives a crap if you don't like that? He is a hero in South Carolina. And finally, South Carolina is not in the news for doing something stupid.
Right. And finally, we are in the news for something good. I mean, how can you not honor this man? Like, some people have so much hate in their heart. I had made a post on Facebook about he did a video, and like towards the end, like he looked sick.
Yeah, because when you have cancer, you start to deteriorate and lose a lot of weight.
Right. And apparently people were clowning him and all that stuff, and he ended up taking the video down. Mm-hmm. But it made me have a conversation with my mom, and I was just telling her, I was like, we had no idea that he was sick. He was playing in all these roles. Like, he'd been sick for 4 whole years, and nobody, his close circle knew, but the general public did not know he was sick. Shout
out to his circle, his friends, for like keeping that in. How many of y'all friends of a famous person be like, oh man, but y'all don't even know he has colon cancer. Exactly. So shout out to the people. That's why it's important to surround yourself with important, like, great people who going to keep your business out from being out in the streets.
Right. Yeah. So I was telling my mom, I was like, that's just crazy, because it just kind of goes back to like thinking about when you're interacting with people, like, you don't have a clue what they're going through. You have no idea. So you need to always like live in love and compassion. Like, God gives us grace, and we have to give other people grace, because like I said, you have no idea what people are going through.
Exactly. They're fighting battles that you don't even know that they're fighting, man. And like sometimes, like when I see people get so happy that they made it to church, I'm like, oh, I take it for granted. Oh man, I just get up, get dressed, get to church. But man, they could have, like, you don't know what kind of news they heard. Like, did they take 5 buses over here to get to church? That's why people are so happy, because you don't know other people's stories. And that's why you have to have conversations with people. Like, everyone just sees what's on the surface, man. That's why I like coaching, because it like tells you, like, you got to go deeper.
Yes. So I love quotes. Quotes are my thing. And there's a Chadwick Boseman quote that I want to share with y'all. So he says, when God has something for you, it doesn't matter who stands against it. God will move someone that's holding you back away from the door and put someone there who will open it for you if it's meant for you. I don't know what your future is, but if you are willing to take the harder way, the more complicated one, the one with more failures at first than successes, the one that has ultimately proven to have more meaning, more victory, more glory, then you will not regret it. Chadwick Boseman.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, it brings me to another conversation. So, thinking about the fact that he, didn't let on that he was sick and everything, it makes me think about, like, in our life, like, if we were sick, would we want to let people know? Like, does it feel like he was just kind of snatched from us? Like, we didn't get to prepare ourselves or process it?
Yeah. Yeah, I absolutely agree. But in Hollywood, if he would let producers and
not in Hollywood.
Director,
I mean,
for him, it's
personal.
critical. For him to keep like working, it's like, I'm not telling nobody I got colon cancer, because that would kill his career.
Right, for him. I'm just talking about in general.
In general, yeah. Like, I had an aunt, and she didn't disclose. Like, my uncles are getting older now, and as like a young kid, like your young uncles, like, man, they can't get old, man. They're invincible or something like that. Well, we just found out, like, whoever you talk to is like, some of my uncles have been in the hospital getting like surgeries and stuff, and you never know about it. So, but I take responsibility. I haven't kept in the loop and like understanding that, and it's their business if they want to disclose it or not. Because being sick, because I know one thing, like, when you're sick, you don't want to be a burden to other people, right? And it's very hard, especially the like masculine energy is like, man, I don't want to show weakness or anything. And like, when you're sick, it don't matter how strong you are, that sickness is going to kick your butt. It's going to win. And you don't want to see people like hospital visits. Like, I've been fortunate never to have to spend a night in the hospital due to my own illness. Now, when my mom was sick, like, I lived in the ICU. So like I said, I hate intensive care units. But if one of my loved ones in there, I'm going to be in there. But I personally like want to take care of my health. I pray for health because I don't want to experience that. And I'm not sure if I would tell anybody.
See, I wonder too, because I feel like I probably would tell, not because I want the sympathy or anything like that, but just because I want the time. I want to compel that time to be able to have those conversations, to be able to have like for that person to have closure, because if they would have known that you were sick, then maybe they would have used PTO to their stockpiling, or maybe they would have driven out of their way to come stay the night with you. I think I would tell, because I would want to have those experiences. I would want to create those memories so that if I'm not there anymore, they can say, you know what? I'm sad Talisha's not here anymore, but I know that we were in a good spot. I know, I know that we were good. You know?
Yeah, that totally makes sense, especially in work situations. I remember me holding in the last weeks of my mom's life. I didn't tell anybody till I knew she wasn't going to be here the next few weeks. And I finally told my boss and told some of my coworkers, because at work, and oh, I'm so happy. I was dying inside, man. I was dying inside. I wish I would have told somebody. But at the same time, and the ego gets in the way. It's I don't want people looking at me oh, poor child, bless their heart, was what they're going through. But going back, I wish I would have told people sooner.
So just know tomorrow is not promised. So utilize today. You have today. Tell the people that you love them, that you care for them, that you're here for them, especially with your spouse. Make sure that you just make that impression on them that is unforgettable.
Yeah, so to actually incorporate that in your life, I actually have a planner that I use, and it has the morning mindset, and the prompt that it always has is someone I could surprise with a note, gift, or a sign of appreciation. So that's a practice that I take, that I use. I'll text somebody, hey, I appreciate you, I love you. If I haven't told you I love you, man, I love you. So that keeps that contact in to let people know that you're thinking about them, because it's so easy to get caught up in that day to day, that work, that grind. And like I said, at the end of the day, you're not going to ask yourself or say to yourself, I wish I would have worked more hours, or I wish I would have got more projects complete. And you're going to be I wish I would have had that conversation with that person to let them know that I love them and I appreciate them.
So take control of your life. Be intentional. Even though it seems I don't need to write down who I need to talk to, be intentional, because your time will continue to slip through your fingers, and you will look up and it's oh man, I haven't talked to that person in 2 years. Make it a point to talk to them today. Write
it down. Don't leave it in your head, because you have over 60,000 thoughts a day. So it's going to get lost if you keep it in your head. That's why I write it down. Who can I surprise today? Go through my list of contacts. I'm hey, haven't talked to you in a while, man. Hope you're doing all right. And I like sending voice text.
Oh, yeah.
People love voice text, man. Yeah, because we just celebrated my grandma's 90th birthday, and we did a drive-by with fire trucks and everything. And even though her memory's fading, and she's it's mild dementia, she remembered seeing all those faces, and it just brought so much tears of joy to her face that hey, we still celebrating them. We don't know. Nobody knows how much time they have left. Don't even want to know. So what are you going to do with the time that you have left?
Thank you for listening to On the Up and Up with Patrick and Talisha. For access to all of our episodes, please subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and wherever you listen to our show. Leave us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes, and we will give you a shout out on our next episode. Stay connected with us on Twitter and Instagram at I am Pat Ratliff and at the Farm D Mommy. Thanks again for listening, and we will see you next week. God bless.